All right, fellas, happy Saturday is how it goes, something like that. So what we got here today is the 56 meter pump. Gonna do about 200 plus yards in the suspended deck here. What I want to showcase today, makes it sound real fancy, showcase. We're not going to reach the deck, so we're going to have to start with line around the back of the core, pouring this way, I believe, coming back, and then we'll be within the reach of the boom for most of the deck. But then we got to put line back on to get the corner at the other side of that core there. So what that's going to involve is a fair bit of switching from a whip hose back to line work. So what we're going to do here, to avoid, you're stretched flat out like this and you've got a double-ended hose and a couple other lengths of hose laid on the deck, and then you want to swap back to a whip hose. You break off at the taper, the boom drips, 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 drips. Takes forever. You wait for the concrete to finish dripping. Makes it a major pain in the butt doing the right thing and going back to a single-ended hose when you're pouring out of the boom. So to expedite that process, what we're going to do, and they've been doing this in Europe for years. I believe a lot of machines sold in the European market even come with this hose setup from the factory. We're going to run this short double-ended 4-inch hose right off of our 4-inch taper. And what we're going to do is we're going to connect this hose up to our line, and we're going to run 3.5-inch line today. So we will have a short 4 to 3.5 reducer, 3.5-inch line. And then what we're going to do when we're out of the line work, we're going to have the air cuff on here. We'll activate the air cuff to pinch this short hose off. We can buck off the line and reducer, and then we'll grab a 4-inch whip hose. We'll fasten it to this short double-ended 4-inch hose, connecting a safety sling between the two hoses and a clamp with a safety pin, obviously. And then we are effectively pouring through a single-ended hose, and we're not running the risks that are associated with running a double-ended hose, hitting an air pocket, catching a plug, whatever it may be, and the hose guy taking the metal coupling to the head. Deadly, deadly, deadly stuff. So anyhow, we're gonna mitigate that today. So this is what we've come up with is the quickest and most efficient way of swapping back and forth between plugged into system and chucking the whip hose back on to do boom work. Makes it quicker, easier, more efficient, and ultimately it's way, way, way safer because guys are way less tempted to try and elevate the boom with that double-ended hose hanging in the air. So that's kind of what we're going to focus on here today. So we're going to get finish getting set up here, and then we'll get up on the deck and get banging at this and try and catch the process in action. And hopefully it works out well and proves my point at how quick, easy, and efficient this is. But I'm confident it will. We've done it this way for a little while now, so we'll check back in a little bit here. All right, so here's what we got in place. Short 4-inch hose, air cuff, 4-inch whip hose, safety sling between the two. Obviously pins and the clamps. So this is how we're going to rock it. What I will say, ideally, when we run 3.5-inch hose, I prefer to run the 3.5-inch reducer right here, taper down in metal, and then have a short 3.5-inch hose. The reason why is what I find is with a rockier mix, this 4-inch hose can actually swell up a little bit, and it almost has to reduce back down as it goes into that taper, and it will tend to plug at that joint between the two. Today we've got a small rock mix, nice wet slump, not going to be an issue. But if we were rocking something like 150 feet of 3.5-inch line, I would definitely want to have a short 3.5-inch hose, not the 4-inch. The 4-inch is not the most ideal in that situation. So anyhow, we'll get rolling here, and I'm going to pack my composite hose egg here, my Somero dragon egg, I think they're called, something like that, Somero hose eggs, whatever. I'll take that up today, maybe catch a little footage of rolling that thing around the site here too. So, but anyhow, that's exactly the setup that we end with here. Ideally, this is a 12-foot whip hose. Ideally, it would be about an 8 to 10-foot hose. That's just what we happen to have on the truck today. We're still well within the weight limits for this boom, having the 12-footer plus that short little 6-footer there, so we're all good that way. But a little shorter is nice. It cuts down on the the whipping action at the end of the hose as the pump is slugging this stuff out. So anyhow, I'll meet you back up on the deck here. All about it. So here we go. Somero hose egg, take one. 4-inch clamp drops in, and safety pin once I find the hole in place. And these things lock together just with these little tabs. Oh, you know what? I forgot these safety pins are way too big. I'll grab myself a little piece of tie wire. All right, take two. Here we are being resourceful. Just a little baby piece of tie wire. Not ideal, but this will work. It's the longest one I could find. Yeah, I know. Anyhow, and these guys just snap together just like that. And then when you want to take them off, just take a pin, push in each of these dimples, and they pop right open. They don't have the bolts that you have to undo with a wrench like the old ones. So, and we drag the hose around. They just roll like so. It's gonna roll right over everything. What do you think? Think it's gonna work? If not, oh well, we'll try something else. But no, they work great. In there, okay. Set up, ready to go. Short 4-inch, 3.5, or 4 to 3.5 reducer, 3.5 inch. Boom, boom, boom. So as you can see here, what we're going to do, we're going to prime the grout into the bucket.
That's 3 fucking times. So you slumped up at a 190. Are you good to go? Yeah. Probably 100 right now.
Yeah, it's typical. So expect it to be hotter than shit. But yeah, we're going to prime the grout into the bucket here. As such, not to dump it all on the slab. They've had, or we've had issues before pumping the grout directly into the slab with some inconsistencies once they strip the deck. So from now on, we just put it right into the bucket here. So anyhow, we should be priming through here very shortly. All right, we are through, rocking and rolling. Nice juicy slump. Only 199 yards to go. I gotta say, those hose eggs are the cat's ass. The way that it just rolls around, it rolls around the outside of the coupling. They work like really, really well. Way, way, way better than the old school hose pans, in my opinion. All right, so we are about 40 yards in here, and we're just waiting on our next truck. So it's going quite well here. Those hose eggs absolutely.
Go around to the west, you can't even see anything over there anymore.
Yeah, it's crazy, eh? Mike's alluding to the smoke here. There was a fire last night, a forest fire, I don't know, 100 miles from here, 50 miles from here, and we're now socked in here with smoke in the lower mainland, down near the water here. Anyhow, what I was saying is the hose eggs are absolutely kick arse. Really, really, really well those things work. So highly, highly recommended. So we poured the 2,000 yards about a month ago. I did a video on that one. Place and boom mast is up. Place and boom goes in within a few days, I think. And then that tower starts going up 50 stories. The one we're on right here is 30 something. This is the last deck that they're going to actually pump, and the rest they're going to do with crane and bucket here. There will be no place in boom on this tower. So, but yeah, so we changed the plan a little bit. Started in that corner. They have a bulkhead in, a pour brake set there. So we're going to come all the way around here, just to this side of the core. We'll work back to where the boom is. Then we'll swing the boom over, and we should be able to reach the rest of this with a whip hose on the back L section there. So this will be a much easier, more sensical way of pouring it. Originally they were talking about having a pour brake on the back side of this core here, running north-south, but that changed. So somebody's getting a little excited over here, a little bit amped up. It's especially for a Saturday. It's all good. Okay, so line work is done. Mike's gonna break off this 3.5 or 4 inch to 3.5 inch taper. And then we're gonna snip this whip hose on. And we reach all the rest of this, so we'll pour the rest of this out with the hose. And what I was saying about this speeding up the process of changing out the hose, if we didn't have this short double-ended 4-inch hose and the air cuff with the boom like this would drip, drip, drip all over the deck for an indefinite amount of time. Because our bulkhead is here, anything that drips into the deck becomes a bit of a problem. By the time we pour all the way back around, it'll leave hard spots on the deck when they strip it. So, you know, hard spots probably isn't the proper term, but inconsistencies. There we go. So now we'll fire up this 4-inch hose. Special thanks to my assistant. He's actually doing my job. Clamp on, safety pin in, safety sling on between the two hoses always. And we'll take this up and away and swing over to the other side where we'll finish this with the boom work. So that is what we end up with. Like I said, ideally this whip hose would be a couple feet shorter. The only thing I don't like about all that length is you get a lot of this, but this is only a 10-inch deck or 8-inch deck, so we're not pumping hard here, so it's not a concern. If we were on a bigger slab, it'd be more of a concern, but this is just perfect for doing all this stuff. It also helps us when we get in around the core here and we have to do the lobby area. It helps us get in and over top of those zones. So I'll, being the hose attendant, I'll get all these hoses cleaned up and check back in when we're doing some boom work here. And just like that, we be booming. So we actually calculated / guesstimated that just perfectly. Just enough reach here to get this flat stick. To come in here, and like I said, the lobby area here, we got to get over the zones. That added bit of length will help us a little bit with the hose. But this actually worked out really quite well. All things considered, not too terrible of a day dragging hose. Or morning dragging hose, I should say. Morning being the key reason why it was not too terrible. So yeah, as you can see here, we're finishing out here with the whip hose, single-ended hose. So anyhow, I cannot stress the importance, or the enough of importance, whatever the words are, of not pouring through double-ended hose. These metal ends, especially on a 20-footer, you catch an air pocket or a plug and release, this thing will literally kill somebody. So I know there's a million excuses in the world as to, oh, I only had to pour a truck, then I went back to line, yada yada yada. It doesn't matter. There's no reason to do it. It's not even in my opinion, it's not even a negotiation point. Guys will say, oh, I've been pumping 20 years and all you have to do is know your pump and know when to stop it, yada yada yada. I've been pumping 23 years, and I will say every now and again there's an air pocket that I did not foresee, or a situation I did not foresee or have not seen before, because I don't know everything, and we keep learning every day we do this. The minute we think we know everything and get comfortable is the minute we become dangerous. So yeah, circling back, don't pump out of a metal-ended hose. Just don't do it. There's ways around it. Do not do it. So that's the pro tip of today. Okay, a little break in the action here. So Mike is going to do a quick demo on the hose eggs. Or actually, you know what? I'll demo it. He'll film me. Or you can film me. So open these things up. Take a nail or something like this. Push in the one side. Pop it open. You got to hold it open a little bit. on this side, and then push the other side. Boom. Just like that. And then to put them together, obviously I put a safety pin or piece of tie wire in there. And what have I done here? Oh, I got the, sorry, there. And just like that. I had the clamp orientated the wrong way. Open them up, pin, pop it, hold, other side, push, pop it, done. I don't like to swear on the channel, but these hose eggs are the most effing awesome thing that we have purchased in a while. My only concern, we'll see how long they hold up. These are made of a composite material. I remember the guys from Somero saying they did something like a drop test where they dropped them off like a 3rd or 4th story balcony onto the ground, and they survived. But a couple little scratches, little battle scars from today. I think they'll hold up okay, but like I said, until we've run them for at least 6 months, I can't say with confidence, so I will do a follow-up video. But yeah, awesome. Super lightweight. They roll very nicely around the clamps. Way better than hose pens. Way better than the metal versions of these, which these replaced. This version is for 3.5 and 4-inch hose. They also have a larger version that's made for 5-inch line. So, and they might even have smaller ones for 3-inch line. That I'm not sure about. But yeah, it's not too often I get really excited about a product. And I won't bullshit you on the channel. I'll keep it real. But these things are wicked. Like I said, my only complaint potentially would be if they don't hold up. And the only reason I'm pointing that out is because this is my 2nd or 3rd time actually using them. So we'll see how the longevity is with these. But while we're here, one other thing I want to point out, actually, this is a good one to note on. Why I don't like these reducing stem hoses, 4-inch to 3.5-inch. Short little stem. Plug city, always, especially with larger mixes. And the stem wears out way before the hose ever actually does. 4-inch to 3.5-inch reducer. A little over twice as long. Huge difference as far as reducing plugs. The other thing I would say is that on the 3.5-inch hoses, adding the option of the reducing stem versus just the standard 3.5-inch coupling, I believe each one of these ends is about $100. This reducer here was not much more than $100. You can kind of see the part number. We grabbed this one from Alliance. Conforms has some really nice ones too. The only reason that we have even these reducing stem whip hoses in our inventory is sometimes when we just need to chuck a hose on real quick to pump off a load or two. It's just more convenient than bringing down a reducer, an extra clamp, yada yada. But for any significant amount of volume, 100% the 4 to 3.5 reducer is the way to go. I'm probably gonna get a lot of pushback on this one because a lot of guys use these and like these, and I'm gonna make the assumption it's because they haven't tried actually using the proper reducer. But definitely worth the investment, and if you really crunch the numbers, it's actually less expensive to use one of these over the long haul than relying on the reducing stem hose. The other crappy thing is if it plugs here and somebody smacks this with a hammer and puts a dent in it, this metal end doesn't last nearly as long. So we do have 5-inch to 4.5-inch reducing hoses where they reduce the stem. Not nearly concerned with those ones. It's a longer reduction and it's not nearly as drastic. Also, if it's the Alliance green line, I think the Conform hoses now too, they use a hardened end. This is not a hardened end, that's just regular steel. So anyhow, just one other thing I wanted to point out there. All that being said, I think I'm gonna get the crane to fly these hoses down. I'll load them back on the pump here, and we'll leave Mike to finish things out. But all in all, this actually went really well. You see the boys are just dropping the ride-on trowels down right now. Things are setting perfectly. Still about 11 a.m. We're still in the morning here, so it hasn't gotten too hot, but it is going to cook out here later. So anyways, it's that time. Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. Like it, share it. Most importantly, subscribe to it. Over and out.